On today's video, I'm going to be speaking with Hannah Gardner, top 1% Etsy seller and big Etsy YouTuber, about a fantastic game-changing tool. We're also going to go through some tips for you guys, and it's going to be an absolutely cracking video. So check this out. Yes, Etsy family, we're back again. We're back again. Listen, we've got a special guest today. We got Hannah Gardner here. You know, come on, you lot know who we're talking about now. You lot know who we're talking about. Top Etsy seller, big Etsy YouTuber. Need I say more? Is Hannah G.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, AJ. Merry Christmas. Thank you for having me.
How's your Christmas, by the way?
It was good. Family, nieces, nephews, working. I worked on Christmas.
Wow.
I worked on Christmas. I don't know. Times be crazy this year. Hopefully next year will be a lot so crazy. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Listen, I mean, I kind of wanted to chat to you for a while, to be honest, because firstly, I know you're doing some amazing stuff anyway. I mean, YouTube channel is fabulous, and you got some great advice for especially those new sellers and even the seasoned sellers, to be fair. And especially like for the UK sellers as well, because, you know, obviously I'm from London town and, you know, you're helping out global sellers, should I say. So it's great to have you on because I really wanted to touch on something that's quite important and something that I feel like, I don't know, it's something where we can maybe help some of those newbies out there, especially, you know. And I mean, the theme really, what I really wanted to touch on is and it's kind of sad, is why do so many newbies, Etsy sellers, kind of fail as we go along, you know, as they start, should I say, in their journey on the Etsy platform?
I think that like really the number one reason that Etsy sellers fail, and it's not really failing. Nothing is really failing. It's just prematurely quitting. Honestly, that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, like, you can make any business venture work. You can turn any, like, if there's a will, if there's a way, unless there's just nobody wanting to buy what you have to sell, which that is another problem in itself. Like, it's really just prematurely giving up. And the prematurely giving up comes from not having a realistic view of expectation versus the reality of what it takes to build a business. And even if someone comes and says, oh, I just want a side hustle, oh, I just want to make an extra $4,000 or $5,000 a month, like, it's still hard. And so I think that there's just this huge mix match of what is the reality of what you need to, what skills you have to acquire, what you need to learn, what you have to actually do, and that understanding versus like what they are willing to actually do. And so I think that it's really like, if you're going to go in on business, I just really don't like that idea of like, oh, I'm just going to do it. I mean, people do make side hustles full-time incomes. It's not that that doesn't happen. It's just, you have to expect in business, if you're going to raise your hand up and say, I'm going to open a business, just to already expect that it might very well be the hardest thing that you've ever done. Because then when times do get tough, which they always do, you are already in the correct mindset to basically compete and stick it out when things do get hard, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. And I think expectations is something that I always come across when I speak to, especially newbies, when they ask questions or their comments and so on. And I keep saying like you just started like 2 weeks ago, just, you know, relax. It will happen, you know, but you just got to keep doing the right things. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's the world we're living in right now. Everyone thinks that everything is happening, is going to happen straight away. I don't know. It's a strange one.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, even I am guilty of it. Like 6 years ago, like, I very much had that mentality, and it was that mentality that like prolonged me from seeing results, because it led to just distraction, thinking the grass is always greener on the other side, shiny object syndrome, right? All of those things. And it's like, in reality, it's like, if you want to start something and actually even just make a side hustle, you have to keep a blind eye, and you have to have focus, and you have to just go in and show up on the days that you want to work, on the days you don't want to work. And that's just the only way that you're going to get better, basically.
See, this is what I want to chat to you, because we got nuggets all day long now. We're gonna get all them nuggets coming in. So listen, you guys need to listen to this.
and also, it's not like you hit a certain level and it obviously gets better with time, because you get smarter and you get better at your skills. But then every level that you get to, there's a new like hill to climb. So it's like you're just always constantly improving. Like I say, like 2024 was the hardest year of my life, and I've been doing this for 5 years. You know, so it's just a new challenge, because you're going up this hill on every level. But like, ideally, the growth spiritually, financially, all these things is like going in that direction, where it's like you're going up one day and then you're like, oh my God, my life sucks. But you know, the overall trajectory is up, but like, it's not that every day is like rainbows and butterflies. This year was the most challenging mentally for me in my whole career. And like I said, I've been doing this since I was, you know, in my teens basically. So
Yeah, no, absolutely hear you. And what I like is those peaks and troughs, but in the end, you are progressing. You're slowly getting better and going up, and that's the point of this.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, because it's all about just small gains, and then hopefully, you know, you kind of get through. But yeah, I think it's constantly evolving as well, because you have to keep up with everything as well. Because whether it be trends, whatever it is, you have to keep moving. If you're still, you don't win anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that is literally entrepreneurship. Like, you know, sometimes you see on YouTube, like the comments of people are just so negative or so angry, and it's like, no, that's just business. Like, you put up your hand and you said you wanted to open an Etsy shop. You put up your hand and said you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, that's just the game. This is the game. So you can't get upset if you don't want to play the game. You know, that's just what entrepreneurship is.
No,
You know,
100%.
you
Yeah, no,
know.
100%.
So
I fully agree with you. But you know, I wanted to touch on something actually specific, because you know, my background even before Etsy was selling on Amazon, right? And there were various tools, like I think I mentioned it to you, like Helium 10, which was, it's a fantastic tool to actually be able to see exactly what's happening with regards to, you know, profit, loss, all the fees that you're paying, all the little bits and intricacies that actually, very funny enough, there are similarities to Etsy, which was, you know, which is good for me. But I really found a few softwares out there very, very useful actually, and they helped me a lot actually to improve the business. But when I, you know, going across to Etsy, I was a bit surprised actually. I was quite shocked that there wasn't much really out there that could actually help me. I had to go backwards, had to regress and go a bit manual with the kind of bookkeeping side, understanding the metrics and all of that stuff. But I found, I mean, you know, through you, I found something that I was like, wow, how come nobody's like really done this? And that's this beautiful creation that you and your team, you know, kind of started a while ago, called Profittree. And I really want to kind of touch on that, because I'm really, really intrigued, and I want actually the audience to hear about this, because I feel like it's an amazing platform that's a game changer.
yeah, well, first of all, thank you for saying that. I mean, this project is also part of why this year has been so difficult for me. Software has just been a completely new game for me. You know, I'm an e-commerce background. I built Profittree, trying to solve my own problems for my own e-commerce shops. And so essentially what it sums up to, or what Profittree is, it started as just a profit tracking tool. Essentially, it's the first ever real-time automated profit tracking solution for Etsy merchants. So actually I can just, I don't know, maybe just better. I think I can just pull up the screen here because it's kind of hard to explain without visual here. But here you guys go. Can
Yep.
you see my screen here?
Yeah, I've just, yeah. You got it?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can see this. Okay, awesome, sweet. Yeah. So basically, what it does, you know, I'm not the inventor of real-time profit tracking tools for e-commerce. It's just it wasn't being done for Etsy. And now honestly, I see why, because it's like probably the most difficult software that you can build. And essentially, what we're doing is we're giving sellers real-time stats on their profit. So you can see here, this shop in this year has about done $91,000 of profit after all their transaction fees, processing, listing, shipping costs, ad costs, and of course, one of the most biggest variable expenses, that is your cost of goods sold or your product cost. And so we're giving you the high level benchmarks here of all of the different things of the inflow and outflow of money. And most importantly, what I really like is this pie chart here, right? So you can't optimize your business engine if you don't visually know where your money is going. And so outside of, you know, obviously your shipping, your list, all your fees that are pretty much, you know, not variable, another huge variable expense that you actually do have control over, and you know, arguably with your product costs, your cost of goods sold here, is your ad cost percentage, right? And so when we launched this, you know, we saw that we were helping out sellers, giving them real-time insights on just like their overall shop health. But we also found a huge gap in the market in terms of helping sellers optimize their ad spend. So most sellers are not running Etsy ads, or if they are running Etsy ads, they're doing them in a way that's not actually yielding them more profit, which is kind of counterintuitive, because why are you going to get more sales if it's not actually increasing your bottom line, if that makes sense. So on top of giving you all these stats and, you know, showing your profit on the, you know, your per product level. So on each unique product you're selling, you can see your profit, or on each unique listing, because listings are comprised of products, right? You can see your holistic, you know, health of each listing. So, you know, in this listing, you can see it's done 6,000 in revenue, but, you know, you can come in here and you can look at, oh, well, actually it's only this one variation option that's actually, you know, are these two variation options making, you know, 90% of the money? Okay, well, what are these two variation options? Should we do something more? Should we make a new listing out of it? Right. So it's doing all of that stuff and giving you those stats on the per product, per listing level, but it's also showing you how to optimize your ads, basically. And so right now, what this does is it gives you a metric called your tacos, aka your ad cost percentage. So I don't know if I'm going too fast or if I lose you anywhere, because sometimes I can talk too much. So if I lose you, make sure you just stop me, because I can't.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. You're going through the overview, and that's important for people to understand what it can do, because this is what we need to know. But I like the way it's quite forensic, as in like it's very data driven, and I feel like and not just for me, I'm very like detailed in terms of like numbers, and I feel like, you know, the best sellers out there also are like that, and for those people that maybe, you know, they don't have that sort of ability to be forensic, I feel like this tool can really elevate and help a lot of people, you know.
For sure. So here is a really some interesting facts, you know, for last year's stats. You know, we're almost done with this year, but let's just look at a full year. So last year, Tom wants me to play. Last year, for example, you know, this shop cleared a little bit over 6 figures in profit, right? But it spent $43,000 on ads. And so we actually ran a case study of what would have happened if this $43,000 at a 14% ad cost percentage wasn't invested. And it's actually really interesting when you look at the numbers. So here are just some screenshots here. I can actually just present this screen so it's a little bit bigger. Can you see this?
Yes, I can. Yeah,
so at a 14% ad cost percentage, we yielded a 35% profit margin percentage, which was $107,000 profit. Now, if we did not spend that 43,000, right? So it was about 41,000 on onsite, about 2,100 and onsite 2,100 and offsite, right? If we did not spend this amount, then our potential revenue loss would have been $150,000, because over $150,000. So that means
interesting.
Exactly, right? So it's crazy. So if we did not spend the 43,000, our top line revenue would have been 300 minus 137 minus 18, which we would have only done $145,000 in revenue without ads. Arguably, our profit margin percentage would have increased because we wouldn't have invested that 14%. So that 14% would have went to our operating profit bucket. So our operating profit would have increased to 50%. So hopefully you're with me here. So 145,000 times 50% would have been a $72,000 profit. Whereas on the contrary, with the $43,000 spend, we made $107,000 profit. So the minimum loss without Etsy ads last year would have been a minimum loss, right? Because there's an unattributed amount of sales that we got in 2023 because of the ads that we ran in 2022. So the minimum loss of profit would have been around $34,000 without that $43,000 spend. So Etsy ads are really, really important, because on the highest level, they are allowing you to not only make more profit, but it's also playing the game of Etsy in the way that Etsy wants you to play the game, because not only do they want you to make killer listings. I am so sorry. Do you want me to let this dog out real quick so he can stop crying, or do you not hear it? Okay, I'm so sorry. And so, yeah, essentially,
No, I can. Sorry, I can.
You can? Oh, you can hear?
Yeah, no. But it's all right. It's in the background.
Okay.
Go on, carry on.
Okay, it's okay. All right. Well, my editors can cut this whole thing out and clear the noise. Chuck, stop! Please, lay down. If you send me this video, they'll cut it out. I'll tell them to cut it out. Okay. And so, so basically, long story short here is that we basically, like, the minimum loss of profit would have been 34,000. So we know in this account that at 14% ad cost percentage, we're making more profit. So if we wanted to even optimize that further, then we would want to get this 14% to say 12% the next year. And how do we do that? You do that by analyzing something called tacos, which is essentially just your ad cost percentage, but on the listing level, right? So if your ad cost percentage holistically for your store was averaging 14% across all the listings that were active, then that means that on the listing level, we would want the tacos to be, you know, closer, low around 14%, or at least still hitting your target profit, right? So this shop, we like to get over about a 30% profit, right? We're at 36% profit. So that means we can even afford another 6% technically to go to ads. So it's either you're hitting your target tacos or your profit margin is still hitting your target profit. So like this one's really high at 21%, but the profit percentage before ads is at 54%, right? So if you do 54 minus, what did we just say, 21 for the last year, right? We're still clearing over 30% profit. So I'm still going to leave that listing on, right? This one's 13%, this one's at 20%, right? But I remember we're at least hitting our target. So this is actually really bad because this profit margin percent is only 43%. So actually this would be one that we would consider turning off because this is only clearing about a 23% profit, right? Which 23% actually is still not bad. But if you wanted your target to be 30%, then you keep it on. And this is especially important for shops that are selling like low ticket digital downloads because their thing is like, oh, I can't afford ads because my sale price is so low. But when you analyze it, when you look at your spend compared to total sales, right? Because in Etsy, all Etsy gives you is your spend against your sales from your ads, not including your organic revenue. But because Etsy ads contribute to your organic growth of your listings, you need to factor in your organic revenue. So you can see the breakdown of total sales here is that green, purple, and red, which is basically giving you a holistic picture of all of the quality of the clicks and all the revenue that's coming out of those clicks. Whether it was a click, they clicked on the ad and purchased right on the listing, they clicked on the ad and they went into your shop and purchased something else, or they clicked on your listing organically and bought something, right? All of those clicks, right, are showcasing the quality of that initial click and what revenue came out of that click. And so when you look at your spend compared to your top line total sales of these three things, you're getting a holistic picture of the quality of the clicks of the people clicking on that listing, making you sales that you otherwise would not have made, right? And that's why you want to look at spend versus total sales, which is basically your tacos. It's what you spent, divided by your total sales. And that's the percentage that you want to look at, right? And this is why ROAS is not good enough to just look at ROAS. I mean, we have your ROAS here, right? This is the same ROAS that you see in your Etsy, but right, ROAS is different. ROAS is a different situation going on, right? Tacos is ultimately the only thing that matters. And are your listings hitting your target tacos, right? And this is ensuring that every dollar in is guaranteeing you the profit that you want to see, basically. So does that make sense?
No, 100%. And you know, because I'm just thinking about it for digital downloads, I think it's even more important for digital downloads, especially when you got those low ticket sort of numbers. I think knowing exactly what's working, looking at the ones that are selling well, I think it's that holistic view of what is working, how it works, which will particularly help people understand how to move forward as well with regards to their listings and their profits. But Etsy ads is another, like, you just got another tool. There's a whole new, like another, it's almost like another tool within this whole thing. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Especially one touch point on the low tickets. Like that's the biggest myth is that low tickets, because they're selling $3 digital downloads, that their ads don't make sense. But when you sell low ticket digital downloads, your ROAS always looks bad. Like your ROAS is always gonna look bad. So everyone thinks that it's wrong. They look at spend versus the green and the purple, and it always looks bad. But when you look at spend, when you include organic, you're like, wait a second, actually financially this ad makes sense. And you wouldn't want to kill an ad if it's clearing you healthy profit, like after you include organic. It's the same thing on Amazon, right? Like even though like the ROAS might look bad, if it's making sense financially, those 100%. Extra clicks are contributing to that organic. So like you would not want to turn it off. Ads is obviously, you know, the biggest questions I get with ads is like, when should I turn them on? How much should I spend? Listen, like if money's uncomfortable for you, like ads should not be the first place you go. Make some organic sales, get a proof of concept that people want to buy what you have to sell. Like if you can't make sales organically, ads are not the solution to your problem. The real first thing is, okay, are you making any sales, right? Like, are you making regular sales? Are you clearing a profit, right? And then looking at those top performers and then putting ads behind, you know, the ones that are already
That's
performing
right.
first.
That's right. Exactly. That are proven. And
Yep.
that's what I keep saying all the time. And the other thing also that, you know, it's about strategizing. So with regards to digital downloads, you know, what I keep saying to the sellers is that, okay, you know, you got this like $2, $3, whatever thing, but obviously think, what's your strategy beyond that? You know, you're building up to sell the whole store. Let's say, for example, you know, give away the whole store, which is obviously worth a lot more. And then, you know, if that is selling, and then use something like this as in terms of promoting it, Etsy ads, and then focusing on the numbers, it makes a huge difference as well. But, you know, it's a combination of things. But I 100% agree, you know, just see, is that quality score, you know, for those listings, is it working organically? Push it. And then use a tool like ProfitTree, which can really hone in on the detail, like exactly what's happening inside. Because you're right, you know, it's not enough with the analytics that we get from Etsy. It's just not enough for us to make an informed decision.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the hopes, you know, it's like, you know, because you can have a listing selling really well, but then like when you go into that listing report in ProfitTree, you could be like, oh, wait a second, really it's only this one variation option that's making 90% of the sales, but wait a second, that variation option is not even what's being advertised in the main image, right? And now you're further optimizing what's always there, because you're, in a way, with your Etsy listings, you're always competing against your last best metric, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, I mean, with regards to this as well, obviously, this is already out. It's launched. People are using it right now. Obviously, I'm going to put a link also below so that people can go and check it out, because I think if anybody wants to build a profitable business, and this is touching on what we were saying at the beginning, why a part of why I think people, I don't want to, you don't like saying fail, and you're right, it's not failing, but you know, people don't do or give up at the beginning, shall we say, is a part of it is the financial, because some of it they don't understand how to manage the money side of it, which is, you know, this. But Hannah, what else do you think, you know, people should really be focusing on in terms of advice?
I would say another one is like, especially for print on demand, you know, a common strategy is like your pricing strategies. Like, sorry, so I'll just share this again. I don't know if you want to throw this on screen. So like
Yeah, go
a
on.
big thing that I see sellers do is like, they will go in at a low price just to gain momentum on the print on demand listing. And then they forget to increase the price. So then they see a sale and they're like, you know, I'm making a negative profit margin here because they forgot to increase their price. So
Yes.
I think doing pricing strategies like low end and when you first launch your listing, especially if you're a brand new shop, like just to try to undercut the market, and then hedging it up as it makes, you know, a couple of sales, one or two sales, like almost where it's like break even just to get some reviews, get the momentum going, and then you know, increase your price over time. So pricing strategies are really important. When you are in a low ticket space, you have to look at your numbers, right? Like, because again, numbers like your ad cost percentage can make or break your profit. And so you need to be obsessed with this number, but the goal is to get your ads to the max. So, you know, if you're in print on demand, like this percentage here really shouldn't go over like 12% because you're in a low ticket space, right? And you need to know that number because you need to know what you can even afford when it comes to ads. But everyone their goal should be to get their ads budget to the max, right? And the max on Etsy is $1,000 a day. It's not going to spend $1,000 a day, but when you have it set to the max, right? A shop that has their Etsy ad budget to the max versus a shop that doesn't, it's a whole different shop at that point. Like you're doing completely different numbers, right? At minimum, you're doubling, like you see in this shop, you're like doubling the revenue, increasing the profit by, like you saw, 30%, right? And that's like, and I would say that's on like, this is like on one of the low ends, right? You know, it should for my other company, for my fast fashion jewelry company, at 5x my revenue, right? But you don't just want to blindly spend that money, you know, without monitoring what's actually happening with your ads. But I don't know. There's so many little things I guess I could say at this point, but
Yeah.
I just say really, really know your numbers, you know?
No, but the thing is, something that I say all the time as well is when I say when you're starting out and you've got a listing up, and even if you break even, but you're building up that quality score where you're getting the reviews and stuff, it's actually a positive thing. You know, you then raise it slowly, but that's the strategy, you know? And some people actually say like, but why am I breaking even? I should be making money from day one. But I'm saying there's value in what you're doing in the first place.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people, that is another thing they see, like, even like the video that I posted about, you know, my first year on Etsy, we did 1.1 million between my Etsy and my Shopify. And people saw that video and, oh my gosh, but like, you know, I say within people see the thumbnail, but they don't watch the video. But I say within the first 10 seconds, guys, this was it's revenue, not profit. Our profit was at that year was 36%, which honestly is still good for your first year. But also that was the first calendar year of Etsy, but that was 2 years of entrepreneurial. That was like on the back end of 2 years of entrepreneurial failures, right? So like,
Yes.
It's the delayed gratification. It's the people that are willing to suffer longer than most that have the biggest results. So everyone's journey is different. That doesn't mean it's going to take you 2 years, but it's like, no, it's hard. Like it's really, really hard. And it's so much more mental than it is physical. And so I don't know. It's just, I would just expect in the first year that you're not going to make money. Like that's just should be the expectation. And if you do make money, that is just a bonus. You know what I mean? So I would just have that mentality because it's all mental. It's so mental than it is physical, like I said.
But you're learning a lot in that first year. You're learning so much that all that armory and that stuff that you've learned is going to help you for that second year, which is hopefully when you start really, you know, kickstarting it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, identity capital, all the skills, all the things that you learn, it's all going into your bucket of knowledge, which is way more valuable than anything else. And thick skin.
Yeah, no, 100%.
2024 was my year of getting thick skin. I don't know.
So what's 2025 going to be like then?
Hopefully easier than 2024. That's all I got to say. Software was hard. Software was like, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's so like, you look at that dashboard and you're like, what is that? Like, this is like, what, I could make that in Excel. And no, software there's just so much that goes into it. Way harder than e-commerce. And I don't ever recommend, I use myself as an example of what not to do, which is open multiple businesses at once, unless, you know, like that was, and I talk about that on my channel as well. You know, the downfall of my own career. Like the biggest mistake is trying to do too many things at once because you think that you're God and you can do too many things at once, and we can't. We really, really can't. So, but here we are.
Well, we got to keep trying and we got to keep pushing, right? So I think, I mean, look, like I said, I think what you've managed to kind of produce in terms of this platform, this software is pretty cool because it's going to help people, and this is what this is about. It's about helping others to do better. And I think if we can get tools out there like ProfitTree that can actually help people, because the thing is, some people just want to come into Etsy and they want to make a living out of it. You know, they want to leave their grind, 9-to-5 grind. They want to get into this. They don't know how to do it. They don't know what tools to use. And I think this one is just another one of those tools that I think they should really use. And
ProfitTree is hopefully, that's another thing next year. I mean, it really has only been my only primary focus. And so, I mean, ProfitTree really is the goal because I do think we're going to help a lot of people, especially with our new ads feature and all the other features that we actually have coming out that we can't even talk about yet. But, you know, time will tell for sure.
Well, hopefully we'll do another episode when you get more features so we can share it with the audience. But I appreciate that, Hannah. I appreciate your time. I'm obviously gonna say it again, you know, guys, check out the link below because, you know, just see what it's like. Because honestly, like I said, if you guys need a little bit more help with the financials, I think there's a great tool, and also for the Etsy ads, because I think that's a fantastic one, really, because that part of it, a lot of people do find it difficult to manage their budgets. All I hear all the time is that they've blown their budgets. They've kind of and they don't know what the keyword. You know, they're kind of there's a lot of intricacies with Etsy ads that actually it's quite complicated for some people. You know, and it does take time, and it took me time at the beginning just to get to grips with Etsy ads, and that's normal, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we're really trying to make it as easy as possible, like as black as white. You know, it's basically just knowing, you know, what can you afford, what makes you more profit if you otherwise wouldn't, and hitting those target numbers, right? But unfortunately, you have to invest in your ads to get some of those answers. But once you get over that hump, like I said, a shop that's running with ads and a shop that's not is in a whole different game than those other shops, basically, in terms of revenue and profit. So it's definitely a goal. But I also have a free course on it as well that I can give your viewers, like it's an entire free Etsy ads course. If you guys are interested in that, whatever is helpful, you know.
Yeah, no, sounds really good. Sounds really good. So Hannah, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know you had a busy day already, and you just managed to squeeze in this little podcast.
No. Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you very much. It's been so good catching up.
Yeah, great to catch up. We'll catch up again. But yeah, thank you. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. See you later.
All righty. Bye.
Bye bye.